money to do that. So whenever I've already got everything in my cart. I've done the PC part picker. So once I get around a smooth 2K saved up, I'm just gonna get a whole new PC setup and we're just gonna build it right here on stream. So whenever that happens, we'll get that going. But let's get into it, okay? So let's talk about what has everyone up in arms right now, and that is the porn ban in Arizona. So Arizona god damn it, I can't speak today. Banned Pornhub, and Kangmin Lee, who's been around, and a bunch of other conservative YouTubers and Twitter people and stuff like that are doing exactly what was going on during Goonergate, where they're like, yes, good, ban the porn, all porn is bad and all that other stuff. And they always use it as it's because they're trying to target the kids. Because he goes, state requires age verification over 18. Pornhub shuts down every time. They're not even trying to hide their agenda at this point. And that's what most of those talking heads are saying about the porn ban. Like, it's because of the kids, it's a degenerate thing, and, blase, all that other stuff. And everybody else is like, well, maybe we don't want government overreach to that point. You know what I mean? Where they can control what you do as a consented adult, what you get into in your private time,
Mm-hmm.
So not only did Kingman Lee have this stance, you already know John Della Backhole was probably all up in his replies like, yes, ban the porn. You had Gothix out there also saying, ban the porn, and a lot of other people was doing that. And there's just been a bunch of arguments about what's going on with this kind of situation, and then you had V. I don't know if you guys know who V is. He's another YouTuber, and he's like, nobody gives a shit about targeting kids because kids don't have money to pay for stuff anyway. So can we stop being mentally deficient for a second and be honest with what is happening here? Do you feel comfortable with showing your ID, showing your government ID when you want to jerk off? No? Okay, well, no one else does either. And basically just saying it's like the slippery slope to get to the virtual ID shit that's going on in the UK and everywhere else. So how do y'all feel about it?
I'll let Cinevere go first.
I am so totally against this. Like, it infuriates me. You already hear that. Britain's been hacked twice. They didn't even know about it. They had to be told by the hacker group, which means they don't have a good stranglehold on your personal information. So we are all just letting the government get away with some heinous things, all in the name of the children, which, as V said, they have no way of getting to unless you are going to parent them properly.
Yeah,
it's insane.
So I'm a little bit torn on it. By the way, hey, we got 112 people on YouTube, man. Only 59 likes. Make sure y'all hit the like button, man. Help your boys out. So I'm a little bit torn, split down the middle. First of all, let's address this part. Saying that it's targeting children and the fact that they're shutting down. Well, y'all forget it costs money to operate that website. I mean, every time somebody views something on there, actors and talent has to be paid. You know what I'm saying? You don't get, at least as far as I know, you don't get to just put stuff on there and the site just gets paid all the time. You have to pay for people to put product on there. They got stiff competition now with OnlyFans, right? But here's the thing though. The more barriers you put in the way of people, the less likely they're going to go to your website. So I'll give you a prime example. Y'all, maybe this don't come on y'all Facebook, but every now and again, it be these like viral videos that come on Facebook where it be some wild shit happening, like sexually. And what they'll do on Facebook is they'll put like a screenshot, somebody will have a caption like, ain't no way she just did that. And then they'll be like, check the comments. You go to the comments, you click the link. Sometimes it'll take you to another site. One day, I'm intrigued. I want to see what this person doing in this video. I click on the link. It take me to damn Pornhub. I'm like, oh shit, it's gonna be some nasty shit. And then Pornhub gonna say, we're gonna need that age verification. And I politely said, go fuck yourself. I never saw what was in the video. I never saw it. Didn't care. What I'm trying to get to is the more barriers you put in the way of people, the less likely they're going to, especially if they have options that don't ask them for age verification, especially when you can just get on OnlyFans. So if you're Pornhub, I'll just say that, and you're in Arizona and you're noticing like a severe lack in traffic in Arizona, maybe you pull out of Arizona. But my question is, evidently it ain't just Arizona, so why just Arizona? Because I know it's happening here in Georgia. Georgia cracking down on all that bullshit. You gotta have. That's why I'm glad I'm not a big porn watcher. Because nigga, I can't imagine having to put my fucking ID in every time I want to watch something, especially if you got an addiction. Oh hell no. And then on the other end, it's like, well, porn is obviously a problem. It obviously is. Just like anything, if you're consuming too much of anything, it can be a problem. So I think if you can prove that long-term porn has significant ramifications, then it should be treated like alcohol and drugs.
I have a rebuttal. Because I actually mentioned this on Leon's show earlier. Okay, it's going to take a dark turn. You guys are trying to, not you, but like the government's trying to get porn banned, right? And you need government ID. Well, then explain to me why there was 162% rise in CP and the exploitation of minors in just the years of 2022 to 2024. That tells me, and mind you, okay, CP is banned in the US, like hard banned, but it has been on the rise. It shouldn't have been. So why are you going to blame porn sites when I pretty much have never seen anything like that on there?
Well,
but I would go on the rise. No, you want the government to get a hold of our ID and stuff and tell us what we can and can't do, but they can't even fix the first problem.
Well, I definitely understand that is an issue, but I don't think because from what I understand about the mathematical issue, I'm not talking about the faith issue with porn. I'm talking about the mathematical issue. I could give a fuck about whether or not Christians believe that porn should be watched. This isn't a faith-based argument to me. To me, the mathematical issue is that there's a lot of evidence to suggest that porn addiction leads to other things that are detrimental to the psyche of not just men, women as well, but mostly men, especially young men. And so I do think it is a little bit of an issue that if I have a 7, 8, 9-year-old son who wants to access porn, that
then it is your job as the parent.
I agree with that. I agree with that. The same way it would be on me to prevent my kids from getting access to my alcohol or my guns or my or whatever drugs I may have. Hopefully I don't have any drugs, but that would be on me as well. But you also know, as a parent, being completely in control of everything your kids do is not, it's just not something that's realistic. Your kids are going to want to hang with their friends. You can't be in control of your child's friends. Your kids are going to want to go to school. You can't be in control of what other kids at that school are bringing. There's kids at school viewing other people's moms on OnlyFans. I don't know if y'all remember that story, but it was a chick. I forgot what state this was, but they made this lady stop bringing her child to school. And they made him transfer because she was on OnlyFans and the kids were bullying her kid. And she didn't give a flying fuck. She was like, how you going to tell me what I can't do to provide for my kid? And it's like, bitch, your son is at school getting fucking roasted every day of the week. And she didn't care. So yeah, I do think it's an issue of the government wanting control, but I'm not about to sit here and pretend like porn is not an issue. The same way.
That's not the government's problem. What you do in the business of your home is not the government's problem, right? Like, the government should not have the influence to stop you from getting on your phone and going to whatever website that you want to, detrimental or not. That's not their job. Like, it's not the same way.
Oh, then they should allow
cigarettes. No, that's not the same. That is not what I said.
What?
At all. Because it's already banned.
You said the government should.
Child pornography is already banned, right? It is already banned. So if you go and you do that, it's already illegal for you to be doing that, right? So it's not the same thing as saying, hey, I just, I want to go whack off. I got to put in my ID. You don't have to put in your ID to get CP, not that I know of. That's not the same thing. Once you start going, oh, the government needs your identification to watch porn. The government needs your identification to watch YouTube. The government needs your identification to play games, to buy microtransactions, and do all kind of stuff. Once you give the government that kind of leeway, it does not stop. That's what people are talking about.
Mhm.
They're not saying that porn isn't
I'm not disagreeing with that point. What I'm saying is you got to stop pretending like there isn't an issue with porn. That's what I'm saying.
That's not the argument.
Yeah, I was going to say that's an entirely different
but
conversation.
that is a argument.
Yeah, but it's not the argument we're having right now.
It is a argument. That's what I'm saying.
That's not the one we're having right now. So it's not relevant.
This is the problem with you and Smash JT. I'm not, again, I said I'm torn down the middle on this, therefore I'm out of it. But in order to make the argument from people on your side, y'all try to pretend it's like there's no issue there. So when it comes to, okay, all right.
That's not what we're saying.
So when
we're saying that's not the government's job.
I'm gonna continue saying what I'm saying. The people on your side of it. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about your people the people on that side of the argument likes to pretend as if there's no issue there. So I would come to them and say, okay, listen, so we don't require age verification. What do you suggest we do with the porn addiction problem? Then y'all have no answers. It's like, okay, cool. If a bunch of grown ass men are addicted to porn, that's not my problem. But if the government is saying, but if we can do something to prevent children, the same way we need to do something to prevent children from falling into gambling issues, then if we can implement laws to prevent kids from falling into gambling issues, why would we not invent laws to prevent children from falling into porn addiction? I'm not saying that it's the right thing to do. I'm saying y'all niggas ain't giving no alternatives because y'all treating the
We're saying we don't want that. That is the wrong way to handle it. We want better measures.
I understand what you're saying. You don't want that. I'm saying the government is saying, give me an alternative. And I have not heard that.
The government is not saying it. They're saying this is what we are doing and you are stuck with it.
I'm making an assumption. I agree with you that I'm saying, if I say I'm taking the age verification away, what is your argument for defending children against porn addiction?
It's your job as a parent, period.
But that's not realistic.
Job. Well, then you got to do a better job. There's no other argument for it.
It's also a parent. It's also a parent's. Sorry. It's also a parent's job to keep their children away from drugs and alcohol. You know that once they start getting older, it's nearly impossible to stop that from happening all the time. But there's still a law.
Still your job.
Wait, it's still a law that says children are not children. You are not able to buy alcohol.
What about parents who wait. This is fitting in with your thing?
Let me finish what I'm saying. There's still a law that says you cannot buy alcohol before 21. There's a law that says you cannot buy a handgun before the age of 21. There's different laws in order for things that we understand that should not be in the hands of children. Now we're coming to porn and all of a sudden saying, no, you can't do that. That sounds ridiculous to me.
Because it goes into your home. Other things. It is an avenue to other things. Because that's what you're not understanding. Once you go, well, now you as an adult, because of the possibility that a child might be able to access something that is on the internet, you as an adult now had to give your ID. That's not where it stops. That's the whole argument.
Then you could have made that argument when they said you had to be 21 or older to buy alcohol.
That's not the same.
How is it not the same? It's
because
alcohol.
Because parents can teach you by giving you a drink of alcohol when you're young, right? Letting you experience how nasty that is, and then teaching you that, look, alcohol is merely a fun thing in entertainment. In real life, it tastes terrible. You'll have a hangover. You're going to suffer, and it's going to be terrible. That's what you teach your kids. And then once you incorporate that into their life and they get a full understanding of it, they make wiser decisions as an adult.
The problem with
what you're not understanding is the virtual ID. That's what you're not understanding.
No.
Let me respond
to Cinevere really quick because I don't want to lose what I'm saying. Cinevere, I understand what you're saying, but what you're saying is naive because even in the best of the times, even in the best times in America, everybody didn't raise their kids the same. You're assuming that everybody's going to have a program to raise their kids to understand alcohol. We've been having DUI.
And hunters have taught children how to handle guns, even though they cannot buy their own.
But
And
yet
they
we still-
teach them gun safety. But you see more respect in guns in the hunter community than you do anywhere else.
But that doesn't eliminate the fact
Exactly,
that
and neither will ID.
well, and that part I don't disagree with. I don't disagree with that part. What I'm saying is you guys' argument is simply leave our stuff alone, and the government saying no.
That's not the argument.
That's
the argument
not
is
the
you do
argument.
not
When I
want to
asked
give
you-
the
When
argument
I asked you
virtual
what an
ID.
alternative was, you had no answer. What's the
The
I
only,
hear.
alternative?
We're
the only
saying
alternative
we
is
need
not
better
giving them your virtual
measures.
ID to give them
Hold on, wait.
access and
Mhm.
control over your personal ID. Because
No.
once you go
I
down
asked
that
you-
road, that's
I
not
asked
where
you a
it's
very
stopping.
clear question. What is the alternative? I didn't ask you nothing about IDs. I asked you
That's
a very
a
clear
separate
question.
conversation, though. That's
it's
a
the same
brainstorming question.
conversation.
No, it's not. You're completely
Hold on.
wrong.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. The
I
government
am.
the
I'm
government
hearing
is
a
saying
second
the
argument
government
to
is
the
saying-
first, but not
government is
addressing the
saying-
first.
the government is saying, much like alcohol, much like guns, we have to get we've identified a problem. How do we deal with it? Is there a method of dealing with it the right way? I don't know. I'm asking you to present an alternative, and the only thing Katie keeps saying is, well, once you present the ID thing, you don't want. I didn't ask you for that. What I asked you is, what is the alternative? Porn addiction is a problem.
That's what you're not understanding. There is no other alternative.
Alcoholics
You either keep it the way
exist.
that
Why
it
are you
is.
ignoring that? I mean,
you
you
either
can
keep
pull
it the
up
way
all
that it
kinds of-
is,
And the-
or
and
you
the
have
answer is-
virtual ID. That is the
answer
only
is no.
route.
The answer is no. The answer is
So it's either we keep it the way that we want, or we give everything in control to the government. Is
I
that
didn't
what you're saying?
I didn't say give everything to the government.
No,
I
that's what you're saying,
Can I
because
finish?
we
But that's
cannot
what you're
give
not
you an
understanding.
Can I finish
alternative.
my point?
We must
Can I-
want to
can I
give
finish what I'm
everything to
saying?
the government.
Can I finish what I'm saying?
Th-
I
but-
clearly did not say.
Yeah.
I said I don't know if what they're making is the right decision. All I'm saying is I have not heard an alternative from this side of the argument. What I'm saying is the government has identified a problem. Whether you believe it's a problem or not, I'm not really here to argue with that.
Yeah,
What
you
I'm saying
are.
is,
Then what do you
did
think
you-
would be an
are you
alternative?
hold on, Senator. Are you listening to what I'm saying, or are you responding
You're
emotionally? What I
focusing
what
on
I
the
just
wrong
said.
thing.
Listen
I'm
to-
kind
no,
of
no.
struggling.
Senator, listen to what I just said. I said the government has identified a problem. Whether or not you believe that issue is a problem is not what I'm arguing. What I just said was you may not believe porn addiction is a problem. That's on you. I'm not. If you don't believe it's a problem, then I guess you don't have. There's nothing to be argued for you. Me, I believe porn addiction is a problem, but I just don't know how many people it is for. So what I'm asking is, if I'm the government and I'm telling you I've identified a problem, how do we deal with it? You're saying no government ID. Okay, cool. So what's the alternative? Your response to that is nothing. Leave it the way that it is. And I'm telling you, no. That's first of all, that's not democracy. Democracy, I would handle this the same argument that I would from somebody on the left. If we've identified a problem in our country that's supposed to be a democracy, what we're supposed to do is one side come together, have a conversation, the other side come together and have a conversation, and we find a solution. One side has presented a solution, you don't like that solution, and so we're asking you to come up with something better, and you're saying no, leave it the way that it is, and the other side is saying no.
So just because there's not a solution right now does not mean that the argument still can't be
come
had,
up
right?
with a solution.
Right, but that's not that coming up with a solution is fine, but that doesn't mean that we should just go, well, it's okay that they're starting to do virtual identification.
Said that. I said
Then-
I began this conversation.
Then that's the point, Atreus. That is the point. Nobody
the point?
What you're arguing. We're talking about virtual identification. Nobody's talking about alternatives.
No. I said from the beginning, I said I'm split down the middle. And I said my problem with this side of the argument is that you're not coming up with an alternative. At no point did I say I agree that we should have identification on it. I clearly started out the argument by saying I don't even like it because I'm not about to present my ID on any website that I don't really care about like that. But what I said was to play devil's advocate, and I didn't say that in the beginning, the devil's advocate part. What I said is your side of the argument is not presenting any alternatives. And somebody just said in the chat, Mystics Vegeta, if you have no solution, you have no argument. That's my point. And y'all ain't came up with no alternatives. Your answer is
okay. So if there is no solution and there is no argument, then that means that you just let the government do what it does, right?
I mean, you ain't came up with a better argument. So what am I supposed to say?
So that means that it's okay for just to let the government do what it does. Just because there's no solution now, that means that it's okay. Just let the government keep rolling.
My answer for you is to come up with a better argument. If the other side has
no. So answer my question. No, answer my question. If I'm saying there is no solution right now, then just let the government continue to roll until you come up with a solution.
If the other side came up with a solution that you can't argue against, then we go with their solution. The same way we went with.
So the answer is yes.
Yeah,
that's what you just said. If you don't have a solution and they have one, then to just let them do the solution.
I want to throw out what I said was, if the other side can't come up with a solution, then we have to go with the other person's proposal. That's what I said. I want to make sure it's very clear what I said in this argument. I do not like having to present my ID on any website that I go to. So obviously the answer for me would be, let's come up with another solution. But what I presented from this argument from the very beginning is, this side of the argument is not coming up with any solutions. And so now his response is, so you're cool with having to give your government ID out.
I mean, that's what you're saying. You're saying
I'm telling you to come up with some other argument.
But you're not listening to what I'm saying. I'm saying if you don't, because you said if one side has a solution, your mic is beatboxing. Hold on. That better?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, you said if one side has a solution and the other one doesn't, then the only thing that you can see is going with the side that has a solution right now.
That's right? How democracy works.
But how is it a democracy if the people are saying that they do not want this? And just because there's no solution to the proposal that they have right now does not mean that they can just go with what they have as their solution in quotations. That's not how that works. Like if I come to you and I go, hey man, I kind of want to drive to XYZ. And you go, well, I don't know where I want to go yet. And I'm like, all right, cool. We're still going to XYZ. Just because you didn't come up with a solution to what I just said doesn't mean that I could just go, we're still doing what I said. No, we have to have a conversation and figure out what it is that we want to go.
But that's what I'm saying. We are having a conversation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if you have the government that is going from state to state and going, you have to ban this, and the people are going, we don't want you to have make us bring our ID to jack off. That's not what they want to do.
Well, but see, they voted for that.
Yeah, but the role of the government is to do what the people are saying. So if the people are saying, hey, we don't want to do that, and the government says, let's go to the table and have another solution, that's one thing. But if the people are going, we don't want to do that,
Arizona chose this. What are you talking about?
So the people of Arizona voted for this.
They obviously did.
Senator, is that true?
I mean, I think what it is, and I think this is what happened with Texas, is that people weren't paying attention.
They weren't paying to the virtual ID laws.
Yeah, no, they weren't. Which is how Dragon Ball got considered something that you need an ID for.
Right. And I think the argument that a lot of people are having right now is not that, oh, porn isn't an issue. There is an issue with the consumption of porn. You've seen that, especially over like the last decade with access to the internet and smartphones and shit like that. People's not saying that's not an issue. What they're saying is going the overreach of the government is not the solution, because you've already seen what happened in the UK. You've already seen what's happening in the rest of Europe. Once you go, well, now the government has full rights over everything I can consume on the internet, what I can even say on the internet, what I can view on the internet, then it's you don't have the choice to do what it is that you want to do. Like, I'm not saying that watching porn is a good thing. Hell, I'd cut back on it my damn self, because it doesn't make you feel good afterwards. It's just not a good thing for you mentally, right? But as an adult, that is your decision if you want to get on the internet and do something like that. It's not the same as buying cigarettes, getting a license, a gun license, alcohol, and all these other things that require you to be an adult to do. This is something that is on the internet, right? So unless you start going, well, now we need internet laws, where, you know, you have to be a certain age in order to do that, you're still giving up your ID, and then you still compromise yourself and others around you. You've already seen that with the virtual ID thing that's happening in the UK, when it's like, hey, we need to start giving up our ID to the government. Within like, I don't know how long it was, that shit was hacked, and everyone's addresses, you know, what is it? They got doxxed, basically. It's not a safe alternative. So I'm not saying that there is no solution to be made. You have to figure out what we're going to do with this problem. I and many others just don't see government overreach of virtual ID in order to jack off as a solution. I don't see that, because then it goes, well, hey, I want to get on Google, put in your ID. Well, I want to go to this random website, put in your ID. You know, it's like it starts to become too much.
I mean,
Too much.
I don't necessarily disagree with that, but again, and I'll you know, just say it just one last time, like if you don't have another solution and we've identified a problem, then something that has to be done according to the government. I just don't, because I don't, and again, I know folks gonna say a Trey is capping, because I don't watch porn like that, and I don't be around people who watch porn like that I know about, because I know niggas be living secret lives out here. I don't be around people who watch porn like that. I've never seen the ramifications up close. So it's easy for me to say in my world, hey, yo, this is not a big deal to me. Why are we doing X, Y, Z? But some of the things that I've read and some of the things that I've heard about, even like women that I know personally, say they've been in relationships with dudes and come home and they, you know, they whacking off. I'm like, bro, you got a baddie at home. Why you whacking off? Like, what's
but
good with you?
that's not again, I don't see that as a government's problem, though.
I understand that, which I don't necessarily disagree with. It's just that when you bring kids into the conversation, something obviously has to be done.
Yeah, I just don't see that as a good argument either, because that could be made for anything. You've been a child, you know.
Well, I don't think not having a solution is a good argument.
Yeah, so, but that's not saying that you should just let the government roll with whatever they got right now.
It presents another solution.
All right, bro. You're not understanding. Either you're not understanding, or you're
telling me over and over and over again that I don't understand. Is
okay, well, then it's just you hear what I'm saying, but you don't care. You will let the government do whatever. That's basically the only.
What I just said. The same way we let the government put an age restriction on alcohol, the gun laws, and everything else. If there's a problem that's identified to be affecting kids, and they come up with a solution and you can't, that's how democracy works. They came up with a solution and you can't come up with a solution. So somebody, and plus you still get to vote. And like we said, the people in Arizona, whether or not they knew it, they voted for it. The same way the people in Chicago, whether or not they knew it, they voted to be a sanctuary city. And we make fun of them all the time. So, I mean, listen, again, to me, I'm not like hardcore on one side or the other. I just find it interesting that the people on, I would consider my side of the fence, were not making any other argument other than I should be able to goon when I want, which I don't necessarily disagree with. It's just that if we've identified that this is affecting kids and the government says something has to be done about it, you have to be able to present a solution to it, and nobody has done so. So, I mean, hey, that's just how I feel. I'm gonna let it go right there. I know everybody mad at me, but it is what it is. I'm not going to, like I said from the jump, I'll never lie to y'all. I will always keep it a being with y'all. And to me, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to not have a counter to the solution, but then tell everybody, whatever. But yeah.
Well, all right. That's not a good, man. I don't know any other way to say it other than once you do that, you are opening the door to other things, because it's not about the kids, bro. They don't give a fuck about the kids, bro. I always hate it's about the kids, because if it was about the kids, you would have healthier, lunches. You would have education that actually forwards them to make sure they live better lives. You would have all bunch of other things if they actually cared about the kids. That's not what it's about, bro. It's about
emotional
control.
Manipulation is what it is.
It's always about control. That's what it is. And me, y'all know how I feel about the government. You know what I'm saying? That I don't trust them, bro, because there's nothing to be trustworthy of. It's all about controlling what you do. At the end of the day, that's what they're trying to move towards. That's why they're trying to get away from, you know, you being able to say this, that, and the third on the internet. It's about controlling you, man. That's all it is.
Well, y'all
So when
already
they go,
know y'all already know how I feel about that. I don't, you know, I believe that there's a lot of control, of course, but that insinuates that there's a single group or entity at the top that wants to control everything. Y'all know I don't believe in that. So that, to me, that goes through one ear out the other. I think there's people with agendas. The same way the people in the last administration wanted you to have, they wanted you to. Damn, I just lost my thought. But I just think there's different agendas. I think most of this is that right wing Christian shit where we want to ban anything we deem to be porn, which obviously I don't agree with, but we know that the last administration wasn't about that. So, I mean, the truth of the matter is we voted for this. So, I mean, it is what it is. With Trump in office, there's people on the right that feel more emboldened to do to gain more control in their own way. And this is that. But all I'm saying is, you know, I'm not going to rehash it, but you know, we just agree to disagree on that.
You know,
And
when
me,
you marry someone,
Huh?
when you marry someone, you're allowed to have different opinions from them, right? Yeah, you don't go, oh, you know, I married that. You know, even if I don't agree with it, I married that. You don't say it begrudgingly like that. We just have a difference of opinion. I'm not going to always agree with everything Trump does.
Mm-hmm. And I want to make it abundantly clear. Like, I don't like the idea of having to put my ID in for any website. But if I'm standing on the side and we have no argument, I can't fight. I'm not the same way I tell black people is like, okay, you want me to be pro-black and you want me to be loyal to my skin color. What's our argument? And they don't have a fucking argument. I'm going to say, okay, so I'm not going to war for you. I can't go to war for no argument. I can't go to war for this argument because we don't have a counter argument. So that's all I'm saying. Our only counter argument is we think the government want control. That's not going to fucking fly. It's just not. I'm just telling you the truth. Just being realistic about it. We're not going to do anything about this problem because we just think the government wants too much control of us. Okay. We can go in there and make that argument, but we're going to get destroyed. So I don't know. But we can move on though.
Yeah, let's move on, man. This is a circular argument at this point, bro.
No, I'm curious now. I'm now invested. How did you get Smash and Gothix in this?
Oh, because they were going at it. Yeah, they were going at it.
Yeah, they were going at it.
They were going at it on Twitter. Matter of fact, let me find it real quick.
Before while you doing that, I just want to address some of these super chats really quick. UF Omega says digital ID does nothing to solve the porn addiction. I agree with that, actually. I agree with that. All Atreus is saying is we need to come with an alternate counter solution that is less intrusive of privacy because what is going on now isn't working. I agree with that as well. Gertie Banana says the solution is to leave as is the issue is not big enough to slap a broad brush ban on it.
Broad brush.
It's not. Does that not say board?
No, I know what he's.
Okay.
That's what he's saying is broad brush.
Broad brush ban on it. You taking outlier cases and governing on it. Also, we are a constitutional republic, not democracy.
That's true.
I'm not going to respond to that right away because I'm gonna need to do some a look in on that one. But I'm pretty sure we are a democracy. But whatever, I'll let that one go for right now.
We're a republic.
It's no one's job other than the parents to protect their little ones from porno. I am unwilling to lay myself bare for someone else's sense of safety. See, the problem is I 1000% agree with you. Parents, in my world, I believe there should be penalties for parents who do not raise their children but see, that's another slippery slope, right? I think, me personally, and just to take it away from porn for a bit, I think one of the problems that I see in public schools, especially here in Atlanta, is these parents aren't parenting. These teachers are calling parents like, yo, your child is a fucking menace. And the parents are literally responding like, ain't you the teacher? What? I agree. The problem is what you're saying is unrealistic unless we're going to go in and force parents to be parents. Like,
yeah, I think in that regard, a parent should get fined. Don't say shit like that. Take care of your child.
Well, that's one solution. At least that's a solution. Okay, your child came in. I love me some bored, but if your child come in and put hands on a teacher, you should go to jail. If your child come in here and I find some porn on their phone, it should be penalties on the parent. I don't know. Like, let's force parents. Let's come up with solutions to force parents to start parenting.
Well, the thing is, the whole thing is it's a deeper argument than just that, because it's a societal thing, and over like the last 20, 30 years, you know, it's been a societal decline because of the degeneracy that's been let in, and you know, the lack of parenting, the lack of oversight, and just more access to like things that they before didn't have, and things like that. So it's a whole deeper argument to be made when it all comes into that.
What I would do is, if I made this argument for black people, but I could do it for the American. If I could be a tyrant over black people, I would make it so that if you have children with somebody, you're automatically married. And if you want to divorce that person, you're gonna face severe penalties for it. Y'all gonna raise these kids together. If you file for divorce, you can't get both. You're gonna get one or the other. You're gonna get alimony, or you're gonna get the kids. You can't have both.
I have a little bit of a solution, but it won't solve PCs.
PCs. So, go ahead.
Computers.
Oh, okay.
Or probably even consoles. But like, if you're giving a kid a tablet or a phone, right? Mm-hmm. It has to have like inserted into that phone from like the phone company. It has to have a safeguard for children so they cannot access these websites, right?
They have phones like that. That's the thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, no, they are mandatory for kids.
Yeah.
Like, of a certain, like, until the age of 18, they have to have these phones. And if you find out the parents has not gotten this for their child, the phone company can get a fine, and so can the parents.
There we go. There goes something. I got another argument. I believe that a child should not have a smartphone until they should be given Apple Watches or something else until they are of a certain age. I don't know what age. I know when I can say this now because I don't work for them no more, but I used to work for Apple, and a lot of parents, they didn't get their kid, well, consistently white parents who were married. They did not, some Hispanics in there too, but they did not get their kids no phone. They had Apple Watches. That's it.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole argument though, because it is a different time than, you know, when you were starting to make, you know, gun laws, cigarette laws, alcohol laws. It's not a situation that we've had to deal with for that long of a time as compared to those, you know, where kids having all this access to stuff that they before didn't have access to. So, you know, I just don't think that jumping the gun is and going, well, government overreach is the solution. I do think a solution needs to be made. But
even then, Senator, you know, to your solutions, isn't that not still government overreach?
Unless not if
because it's just a phone. It's not telling you how you can use your internet, right? If a kid is doing research on Google, what does it matter? Nobody's going to care. But if it sets off a red flag that, hey, this kid is trying to access an adult website, I don't see that as overreach because it's not doing anything else in my house. It cannot see my bills. It cannot see what I've looked up on my own phone or on my computer. I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like there is a workaround. We just haven't figured it out yet, but definitely not government ID. You're going to be able to pick apart anything that I come up with, Atreus. But the fact is that I came up with that on the fly, and it's still.
Well, I'm not picking it apart because I'm still thinking about it. But like, I'm not gonna respond just to respond. I didn't have an immediate pick apart for your solution yet. I just came up in my mind like, wouldn't that be government overreach? Your response to that is what you just said. I don't have an immediate response for that. I don't argue just to argue. I made the argument on here because I'm trying to be realistic and I'm trying to be genuine about it. But I'm not going to argue with you just to argue. I don't know. Just like when he said a moment ago that that America is not a democracy. I'm not going to argue with him because I don't know for sure the answer right off bat. I'm gonna have to go and do some research and come back to him on that. Trust me, guys. I used to be on the debate team. I used to do this not for a living, but in school, I used to be on the debate team. Trust me, I'm not gonna go into any argument. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I'm not gonna make a dumb argument if I believe it to be a dumb argument. But I do believe it's not an argument to have no rebuttal. But let's get to the Gothix and Smash JT thing. If you have it, you have it.
Yeah, I got it because
okay.
They were they were going into it because Cayman Lee came back, basically saying, I didn't realize banning porn was such an unpopular position on the right. My mentions are full of people calling me an evil authoritarian for wanting to ban hardcore pornography and things like that. Basically, he was basically just talking around what he was actually trying to say, because what he's saying is he wants the government to intervene in what individuals are doing in their personal time and in their personal lives. That's what he's saying. So obviously he was getting clapped back on that. And then Gothix came in. And then she goes, I find it disgusting that those screeching about censorship are obsessed.
Oh, I get what y'all saying. I get what y'all saying. I'm sorry. I interrupt you. I get what y'all saying now about it not being a democracy. It uses what is this word? A representative democracy, which means elected officials, basically. So yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, she goes, I find it disgusting that those screeching about censorship are obsessed with defending their right to fap to a stranger's body, fully aware the porn industry is a hotbed for human trafficking. Adopting a live and let live mindset inevitably spirals into moral rot, leaving us stunned when we're suddenly justifying horrors like child mutilation. All
Now,
societies need guardrails, and if you think that's authoritarian, you're a moron.
I think that's a ridiculous argument, because to me, this is using the argument, and again, I love Gothix, but this is like one of those left-wing arguments where you're making an argument about something, and I'm going to pull at the heartstrings of something completely irrelevant.
Yep.
Just like what does me, grabbing some lotion, maybe a little bit of baby oil, lathering it up, gripping both ends, slowly and then progressively going up and down.
Hey, yo, whoa, chill. Hold on.
What does that have to
going into detail how to stroke your shit, dog?
But what?
Hey, yeah. Where is it? Hey, calm down, Diddy. God damn.
But yeah, though, that has nothing. So because I'm watching a little bit of porn, I'm supposed to have in the back of my head, damn, there's a child somewhere getting freaking abused sexually, and I'm over here whack. No, as a matter of fact, I think it's something wrong with you if that even crosses your mind.
That's literally what I was about to say. I mean, that's a tell on you than anybody else, to be honest.
Like, imagine getting hard and then suddenly thinking about human trafficking. Like, what the fuck? I just saw some titties. That's it.
You know what? Hold on. Wait a fucking minute. You need an ID in order to get alcohol, right?
Mm-hmm.
You was in high school. How many of us in high school still got alcohol whenever we needed it?
I mean, I agree with that. I just
thought about that.
But see, how much? That's part of the reason why when you said it's government overreach, and you can make an argument against it. I think that's blown out of proportion, because in my opinion, it's not completely stopping nothing. Just like somebody said earlier, it's not going to stop porn addiction. I agree, but I think it's more of like, okay, well, we've identified a problem, we'll throw something at it. Now it's making me put my government ID on there, going to work for me. I mean, like me, again, I don't watch porn like that, so it really doesn't affect me like that. But
it's the online, and you say the word, Sylvia. I can't say that fucking word. Anonymity or whatever.
Anonymity?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that word. Mm-hmm.
A word that I can say that he can't say.
Well, finally, man. Look, I be getting tongue. That's one word I always get tongue tied. I'll try to say, like, man, fuck
that shit up too.
Whatever, man. Being anonymous on the internet, bro. You know what I'm talking about.
Remember Finding Nemo?
Yeah, that's how I feel when I try to say that fucking word, bro. Hey, but this person right here has a good point. He says, I don't think your guardrails should be applied to victimless crimes and are in stark contrast to free market ideals.
If a society believes porn is bad, then create a society that doesn't want it. You can't achieve this peacefully with state force.
I do agree with that. I mean, if you in the house and you decide, you laying in the bed, you just scrolling, you like, man, I just want to start tugging on my shit. That's your right to do so. The government can't say I need to see your ID if you want to pretend have sex. I don't think that just don't make sense to me. There's no reality where that makes sense to me at all, man. I don't see that.
I don't know. Yeah, you have it, like, it's illegal to have any kind of sexual affiliation with a child, right? Yeah, you still had Epstein's Island. You still had that.
You still got Gideon busted dudes that like, young children right now. He's doing those episodes all the time, catching child predators, and that's illegal. You know what I mean? So hey, here's another thing. Guns are illegal in Chicago.
I think the argument that you guys are trying to make is along the same argument that people who are fighting against gun laws are fighting, which is the ban on guns isn't going to stop the criminals from having guns. So why fucking ban the rest of us from having guns? Which is a fair point. Which is a great point. If I agree that the only problem was CP.
Well,
if CP was the only thing that I was worried about, then that would be the argument that I would make.
Well, I think because I think that's it's just one of those too much of anything kind of things, because there's people that watch nothing but anime all the time, and you see how they are. They're socially inept. They can't really talk to most people. It's not saying that you just start banning anime.
To live and let go.
I agree with that.
Let me get you. Let me get you.
I agree with that. I 100 listen the same way how I feel. I mean, there's people that watch crazy anime that kind of makes me cringe a little bit. I shouldn't be like, hey, you need to have an ID in order to watch this anime, So, and then on top of that, the only what argument I saw somebody have, which I've seen nobody bring up, which is when you go to show your ID for alcohol or cigarettes, or you want to watch a rated R movie or anything like that, they don't keep your ID. They don't keep your ID. They see it, they go, okay.
Well, and to further prove your point, it's not a porn app, but might as well be the T app.
That's enough. And you put your ID on that bitch.
You had to put your ID on the T app, and yeah.
You saw what happened with that, bro? The online safety thing was happening in the UK. What happened like a week or so after all those IDs got uploaded? Hacked.
I tell as old as time. People obsessed with what others do in their own bedrooms. If nothing illegal is happening, shut the fuck up. Only people not bedroom active care what other people do in the bed. While I agree with your statement, there's still an issue of porn addiction in children. So I mean, I agree with that, and I also agree that parents need to goddamn parent.
Then it's a cultural problem, and politics have nothing to do with it.
So what I would do if I was actually trying to, because again, I separate myself. I'm only having this conversation. I would never go on a public platform. I was about to say something so fucking stupid. I would never go on like a national stage and try to make an argument for either side, because I'm simply I don't have the solution. All I'm asking the people on my side is, guys, do we have a solution? And if the answer is going to be no, I can't go to war for you. Now, if you give me a solution, I can go up on Capitol Hill and say, hey, listen, we ain't putting our IDs, but listen, we can put this forth. That's all I'm saying. Let's come up with something that'll work to at least say we trying to protect the kids. Is it going to protect the kids all the way? Fuck no. Does anything protect anybody all the way in this country? No, because it's a free country. So motherfuckers got the right to be supervillains in this bitch. So let's come up with something. That's all.
So when did fines stop working?
Since when did what now?
Fines and stuff stop working. Why is that not a more legitimate outlet, like to punish people from doing bad things? Instead of IDs, why do they need to be in our private affairs in order to see what we're doing when it's none of their business? Why did fines stop working?
Hypnotic, I agree with your comment, except they tried to they actually put an age restriction on it. So the point is that they attempted to do something about it. Now the rest is parent be a parent. There's no restriction.
What about drugs?
Yeah, because we don't have accountability anymore.
Hold on, wait. But again, there's laws that are telling you that drugs are illegal. If you still find a way to work around those laws, that's on you. Therefore, there's accountability for that. Same way, if you're a 16-year-old kid and you get pulled over, you got alcohol in, like you're driving your parents' car, you get pulled over, you got alcohol in there, you're going to jail. And they're going to ask, where are your parents? and they're gonna, hey, did you know your children was out? Did you know your 16-year-old was out? There's ramifications for that. But if you catch a 16-year-old watching porn on his computer, there's no accountability. Yeah, I can look at you as a parent and go sideways, like, oh, you're not watching your kids or something like that. I can't lock you up. I can't fine you. So going back to what Senator was saying, since when did fines stop working? But then you introduce, well, what am I going to do? Am I watching what you're doing on your internet to see if your kids are watching porn?
Well, I mean, if your kid is talking about how they know somebody's mom is on OnlyFans, doesn't that mean the parent should be fine in that case, or fined?
Remember, I made that argument earlier. I agree. I agree. If your kid comes to school and his iPhone, and I mean, I don't know how we would have access to his iPhone, but we you know, maybe he's texting in class and he's not supposed to do. I mean, he's not supposed to be. I take his phone and I see porn in there. Then, you know, why you don't have restrictions on your 9-year-old's iPhone?
Why do we have to have a counter argument to the whole what do you have instead, when if we wait to get a proper counter argument, we'll have all our rights taken away and we'll never get them back?
Well, I mean, that's an assumption that you're making. I genuinely don't believe that. I
believe it 100%.
And that's where we fundamentally disagree. That's why I said in the public space, I'm just making this argument because I'm talking to y'all, but in the public space, I would just back off the argument, similar to the way that, you know, when motherfuckers would have the pro-life versus pro-choice argument, I just be like, bro, whatever, I don't care no more. But in this, I'm like, you're saying why do we need an anti-argument? Because the world has identified a problem that they want a solution to, and what the Americans say. What do you mean that's not true?
But that's the thing, though. That's the thing. What do you mean? Because the government is saying that watching porn is a problem, doesn't mean that the people are saying that porn is a problem, or to the level that they're saying. Right? No. But what you're not understanding is, like, this is what a lot of people don't understand, and this is where like the disconnect happens. Is the government doesn't just do things that they think that they want to do for you. The government is supposed to work for you. That point blank period. If you do not want something to be in law, or you don't want something to be passed, or you don't want something to go, that is your right as a person to say, well, no, we don't want the government to do. But again,
now we're coming back to, this is what people voted for, whether they know it or not. That's what they voted for. And and again, as unpopular as Christianity has been in recent years, it's still a Christian heavy country. So your assumption is that most people would not vote in favor of doing something about porn, and I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I'm not saying that most people are in favor of porn. I'm saying it's absurdly arrogant for you to assume that most American citizens don't believe there's something that needs to be done about porn.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they wouldn't vote
I don't
to
think
have
anyone
visual
has
ID.
said that.
I'm saying they wouldn't vote to have visual ID.
Okay, so going back to what I said a moment ago, I said that the world has determined that porn, they have identified a problem with porn. And ultimately, people, whether they knew it or not, they voted for officials that want to do something about porn.
But you keep saying that. You keep saying that, and you're not understanding why that's an issue. If they're saying they have identified, you're saying the world, but it's not the world. It's government entities.
No. It's the world, because ban is porn in most places. Porn is banned in most places, not America, not in the Western
entities, and they're still watching porn. That's what you're not understanding.
Them still watching porn has nothing to do with it. What I'm saying is the people who have voted their elected officials in have identified a problem, and they want to do something about it. My only argument has been this entire time is you have to have a counter argument. Y'all's argument is that no, you don't. And I'm like, well, that sounds ridiculous.
All right. So I got a perfect example. So when COVID-19 started and all that happened, and they said this is a problem, people are going to die, and they started implementing all these laws and restrictions on people. And before the people could actually see what's actually happening, see what the numbers, see what's going on, they just said, no, we're going to do this. And now you see 4-5 years later, that was all bullshit. And because we didn't have a counter argument at the time, are you saying that it was just okay for them to go and do everything that they did?
No, I'm not saying that.
And that's the whole argument.
That's not the whole fucking
argument.
That is. First of all,
it is.
No.
It quite literally is.
You gonna let me finish what I'm saying before you just go and throw up what I'm saying. First of all, your assumption is that most people was arguing against a nationwide shutdown during that time because of the unprecedented nature of what was happening. most people were comfortable with being shut down, and they thought that they was literally going to lose their life if they became exposed to COVID-19. Yes, there were people that was making arguments that this was ridiculous. This is nothing but a different strand of the flu, which is perfectly fine. But again, you are moving dangerously, arrogantly close to assuming that most people was like, "Nah, we want to go outside." If people, let me calm down. I just think that your argument is arrogant because you're making an assumption that most Americans were not comfortable with staying in a house as long as they believed that it would be their security that they were securing. The security of their family members, the security of their children.
Isn't that why you vote in these people? I mean, that was your argument a second ago, right? You voted for it. You're stuck with it.
I don't understand how that relates to what I just said.
I don't think that's the mentality you need to take with something like this.
No, hold on, no. What I just said was, most Americans believed what they were being told when the government said they had to stay inside. There were people making the arguments that we don't need to stay inside. But what I'm saying is, most Americans, at least during that time, had no reason to believe that they were being told something that was wrong. I think it's dangerously arrogant to assume that most people were like, "Nah, fuck the government. We should be able to go outside when we want," because of the unprecedented nature of what was happening.
All right, so let's take what you're saying at face value. So if that was the case, and they were like, "Well, yeah, it's fine for 2 weeks," and then you have California that went on for 2 years. Is that all right?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean that's obviously ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. So, but do you not see why that happened? They said, "Hey, do what you have to do." They just gave up whatever because there was not no alternative solution at the time. And they took it and ran with it. It went from COVID lockdowns to all kind of different shit, locking people up, shutting people's businesses down, doing all kind of things because they ran with the power, the little bit of power that the people gave them. So when you see stuff like that, and it goes here where it goes, you do not want to give the government that power because that's not where they're going to stop, which is the entire argument that a lot of people are having when it comes to, the porn and anything else with digital ID. Is like, once you go that route, they don't stop there. They go here, they go there, they go there, and then boom, you're like the UK where you can't even tweet out the word retarded without a fucking cop knocking on your door. That's the only argument people are having right now.
And I
mean, you don't want to give up too much to them.
I understand the argument that you're making, and I'm again, I keep saying it. I believe that you have a counter argument, and then we're just going to agree to disagree on that because you believe that the government's going to turn into fucking a Skynet or some shit, and I fundamentally just don't believe that shit. I believe there's people with agendas, and agendas collide with one another. So I don't know. I mean, we've been on this topic for quite some time.
Yeah, I just don't see how you don't see it though, man. Like I just don't see how you don't see it.
I see what you're trying to say. I just fundamentally don't believe it. So
I mean, that's just how it's gonna have to be. I mean, like, if you have all of these governments of the world at the exact same time pushing for major censorship, I just don't see how you don't see it all being connected.
Again, I don't see. Stop telling me what I don't see. I just told
because you're saying you just fundamentally disagree. How can you fundamentally disagree if what I'm breaking it down fundamentally? I just don't understand.
I'm telling you. Stop telling me what I don't see. I see exactly what you're saying.
Okay, well,
I just told you I don't believe it. Just stop telling me what I don't see.
Okay, well, yeah, like I said, you're just choosing not to believe what I'm saying. Then
okay, agreed. I don't believe it. So yeah. All right, so
let's move on from it, then, man.
All right. So let's get into these super chats really quick. Where did we leave off?
Hold on, you cannot forget. Where is he?
Donations, gifts.
Where did we leave off?
Hypnotic asked a good question.
Where? Oh, let me see. What did he say? What is that? Atreus, many parents were reported by government officials to have an issue with anime manga like Assassination Classroom. This resulted in these manga being banned. Do you think people voted for it? I genuinely have no idea. But if you're asking for my opinion, no, I do not believe people voted for that. I do not.
Right here.
Also, okay. So two from Gertie Banana says also Cindy because both y'all cosplay queens are trash. I told you, all these niggas want to see is ass and titties, bro. That's what. That's all.
Don't lie.
Do
My
you
cosplay
see his
queen looks
profile
good.
picture?
Yeah, we seen it.
I drew it.
What?
I drew it.
You drew Gertie Banana's profile picture? Are you enabling that motherfucker? What is wrong with you,
No,
Cinevere?
he paid for it. He paid for it.
That makes it better.
Well, yeah, it wasn't on my stream. It was on BMO's. He does like every death a doodle, but you can also donate, and we will doodle for you. And I was there that night.
Why would you enable him?
That's part of the thing. It's this shtick.
Frostfang 7 says bring back social standards with shaming. That would definitely sex. You guys, sex used to be taboo. That's the problem.
If we really want to, bad.
Huh?
Being fat used to be seen as bad.
If we really want to point the finger as to why this is a problem, point to fucking feminism. Because sex used to be taboo. That used to be something you keep in your bedroom. Now that it's all out in the open, that's the real. Makes sex taboo again. Anyway, actual free expression warrior says, I am a proud degenerate, begone foot fiend.
Hey, congratulations.
Is that a diss?
Like, I don't know. I feel like it.
Frostfang says, for DoorDash, you have to scan your ID for alcohol.
Ooh, they don't keep your ID though. I don't think so.
But it's
well, DoorDash is a different thing though, because you gotta have your actual ID because they need to know that you can operate a motor vehicle. So that's different.
But no, he's talking about when you buy alcohol, you do have to present your. But no, not because I've never ordered DoorDash. I've never ordered alcohol on DoorDash. Does it have to scan my ID or do I just have to show my ID when the dasher gets there? Because that's not the same. If I have to show my ID.
If I use a DoorDash, I know you would have to see it when you get there, and then you scan it, and then they see the date, and then that's about it. But I don't know if that's the same thing though.
I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Ultra the Gunner says, glad to see Cinevere on New Black Street again. Hasune. Thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and put my girl up on screen. My name is Atreus, and you're watching New Black Street, the #1 most entertaining show in the pop culture space. Now, I know we don't have the numbers to prove that just yet, but you're going to help us get there. I know because you enjoyed the video enough to finish it all the way through, right? So you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed because we do a show every Monday night at 10 and a show every Friday night at 6 p.m. We cover video games, movies, all of the drama surrounding pop culture, and you're going to want to make sure you're there because nobody interacts with their chat as much as we do. All right, you're literally a part of the show over here, and I want to make sure you're there. So I'll see you